Alright, I sort of lied about my PS2 and my Xbox 360 collection. I will show some games of it, but I'm not going to show them all. For the 360, I'm just going to show the collections that I have. For the 360, I have Sonic's Sega collection, Sega Genesis collection. And I couldn't dig out my... I don't want to dig out my Genesis right now. But, yeah. On the Genesis collection is most of the games that I played growing up anyway. The Streets of Rage trilogy, Altered Beast, Sonic, like the 4 Sonic games that I ever played, excluding 3D Blast and Spinball, because they're crap. I could review every game on this disc, but I don't want to. And some of these games I even have on the old Genesis still, and I still play them over the 360 version because a 360 controller doesn't handle as well as a Sega Genesis controller does for these games. Yeah, that's all for the 360. The Genesis is too far into the garage. I don't feel like digging it out. But when I do, I'll do that collection. For the PS2, World Heroes Anthology. Have you ever thought about taking the greatest heroes from world history, fabled or not, and just throwing them into battle? That's what I got with World Heroes, and although I gotta admit some of my heroes like Hanzo Hattori and Genghis Khan, they didn't get, and Joan of Arc, they didn't get the treatment I expected, but SNK makes damn good fighting games, and these surprised me. 2 characters I never expected to see, well, 3: Jack the Ripper, Bruce Lee, and Brocken the Super Soldier. Oh, wait, 4: and Rasputin. I never expected to see these characters portrayed the way I saw them. Well, Bruce Lee's pretty much the way I portrayed him, but I guess you kind of get my point. Jack the Ripper's not a hero. He's a villain in most history. I don't know what to say, really. All I've heard was that Jack the Ripper was a criminal. He was a very violent murderer. Brocken is, although he's a German super soldier, he's basically the epitome of Nazi. And, well, I'm not saying that SNK promotes any of this stuff. I'm just saying that it's kind of weird that a Nazi super soldier made it into a World Heroes game. Art of Fighting Anthology. King of Fighters fans. Sorry. KOF fans. Southtown is divided into 2 games. Art of Fighting is 1 set. And Fatal Fury is another. Or, as I know him better, Garo Densetsu and Art of Fighting. I forgot what its Japanese title was. But, yeah. Art of Fighting I don't really like that much. It's one of those classic styles that really threw me off. But it's still a great series. This is 3 games on 1 disc. And for $20, 3 classic games was all I needed to tide me over. King of Fighter fans. Garo Densetsu Battle Archives 1 and 2. Or you might know them better as Fatal Fury 1 and 2 Battle Archives. Fatal Fury is another series I grew up with. More specifically, the Real Bout series on Battle Archives 2. Now, A quick history lesson for King of Fighters fans and anyone else who's ever played a King of Fighters game. Geese Howard is the main villain in Art of Fighting 2 and all the Fatal Fury games, excluding, well, not really excluding, but he's a villain in Real Bout and Fatal Fury 2 and Fatal Fury 3. Geese kills Jeff Bogart at the end of Art of Fighting 2. He's also, since Jeff Bogart dies, Andy, Terry, and Joe take revenge in Fatal Fury 1. And although Geese is assumed dead, he keeps coming back. And that's where the whole King of Fighters thing comes in, because it's a collection of all of SNK's games. Psycho Soldier, or Athena as it's known in other games, has Kenshu, or Kenso, as he's been renamed, C. Kenso, and Athena Asamiya. And then some other characters they threw in for Psycho Soldiers. Ikari Warriors is the Ikari Warriors, Ralph and Clark, Leona, Hydern, Whip, da-da-da. Team Fatal Fury, Team Garo Densetsu, Team Mark of the Wolves, all Fatal Fury characters. The one thing I'm mad about, considering Fatal Fury, is Garo, Mark of the Wolves, or Fatal Fury, Mark of the Wolves, never made it to the States. And although there are some Real Bout games on here that were retranslated, I'm still waiting for my copy of Fatal Fury, Mark of the Wolves. Okay, let's see. 1 second. I'm a big arcade fan. Capcom Classic 1 and 2. I love SNK. I love Capcom. I've always loved their games. Their fighting games, their action games, their adventure games, all their games. I was just a big fan. And I'm still a big fan today. But some of their greatest games have never made it onto the Classics collection because of licensing issues. Like the Dungeons and Dragons game and Red Earth and all this. These games, they're lost to history except for like maybe a few arcade machines, and nobody has those machines anymore. SNK Arcade Classics has most of the games that I've played in arcades. I'm waiting for a full King of Fighters anthology though. Art of Fighting and Fatal Fury are on here. Metal Slug has its own anthology. I don't own it yet, but that's on there. Samurai Showdown's getting its own anthology. It's on here, but World Heroes is on here also. Just there's a lot of games on here, but there's still a lot of games that need to be released on the Classics collection. I don't know when Volume 2 is going to be announced. Rockman Anniversary, or Mega Man as it's known in the States. I'm a big Mega Man fan. It doesn't look like it because I lost all my memorabilia. I've got some figures I got some figures standing on a shelf. But this game is the epitome of fandom. I'm more of a fan of the Power Fighter series on this game. I don't really like, because this is the 15th anniversary collection. I'm not a big fan of the old games because it's been a while since I played them, but I still like playing them for nostalgia. I just wish I had the original console, the original Nintendo, to play them on. Finally, one of my favorite games of all time, Street Fighter Alpha Anthology with Super Gem Fighter, or as I know it better, Mini Fighter. This is one of the best anthologies I could ever have. It's one of the best anthologies to have for a Street Fighter fan, for a Capcom fan. I think you guys would really enjoy it. I'm out of time. This is Satori Hyuga.